Hello, I hope you're having a wonderful day. This is planner update number 12, the last one of the year. I'm honestly very proud of myself for managing to make a planner update every month of this year. It's like the most consistent that I've been, and I definitely plan on continuing this into 2024. We have a very packed agenda today, so I'm first going to show you my spreads from my pocket bullet journal, then my Hobonichi cousin. Then I'm going to show you some more things that I've done for my 2024 planners. And then this is completely unrelated to planning, but I got a lot of questions on Instagram for a review on my e-reader, as well as a lot of people wanted to see my finished sweater. So I will do all of that in this video, but I will save that to the end. If you're wondering what is going on here, I went to a climbing gym, like bouldering, and I ended up breaking one of my nails, and it kind of looks a little gross. So we're gonna wear my running gloves on one hand. Okay, let's get started. Starting with the pocket bullet journal. Okay, so this is my December monthly. I did a split between a winter and a Christmas theme because I really didn't know what I wanted to do. A little bit silly, but I actually really like the combination of these two colors. This is my December in review, which I have not finished doodling. I did it up until December 23rd, so I'm missing about a week of doodles, which I will go back and do. So very quickly, I met up with one of my friends. I purchased a Lego set, made some curry puffs and biscotti, got my e-reader, finished my first book very quickly after, did a bunch of ink swatches, finished my sweater, and then I went bouldering and brunch with my best friend. And again, I have about a week worth of doodles still left to do. This sticky note is here because I made a mistake on this side. I actually made a mistake twice. I started I don't know if you can see, but I started writing December and I probably misspelled it or something. So I covered it up with this like washi sticker, and then I spelled it correctly. I did my calendar, but then I realized that I highlighted the wrong week because it was actually the second week of December. So I stuck down this sticky note and I folded it over to the other side. And I wrote, I don't know what I'm doing. So this is my month at a glance, my habits, and I did a pretty simple vertical checklist sort of week. On Tuesday, my nephew turned 100 days old, which is a big thing in Chinese culture, maybe some other Asian cultures as well. I feel like it's a thing in Korea as well. I'm not too sure. But yeah, we had a celebration for that, working on the spring tulips kit, and we had our first snowfall, which is so sad because I believe this was our one and only snowfall this year so far. And I've heard from many other people in Canada, and I think also in like New York, that snow this year was very minimal, which is quite sad. Okay, this was a spread that I made because I am really trying to get a hold of my sugar intake. If you watch my videos, you probably know that I love baking sweets. I love getting pastries at the local cafe and all of that. But I started noticing just a lot of side effects that isn't so great. So yeah, I wanted to do kind of like a little sugar detox for 21 days. I successfully did it for 1 week. However, I'm giving myself 2 days of leeway because it was so difficult with Christmas. So I'm actually just like continuing this checklist, even though it wasn't 21 days straight as I hoped. So yeah, I quickly just wrote down like why I'm doing this and some solid concrete rules so I don't try to like, trick myself. A few tips, some snack ideas, and then what I hope to achieve. And then I'd have a column for the day number, a little checklist so I can see my progress, as well as like a little color code for how I'm feeling that day. So yeah, I'm gonna be continuing this today actually. here is another weekly spread. I got a little bit too lazy, like writing out the entire month at a glance, so I just wrote down the week that we are on. I fell off the habit tracker thing. I really struggle with habit trackers. A little grocery list. And then if you watched my Christmas vlog, I made some biscotti, and this was the recipe that I used. And even though it turned out kind of ugly, it actually tasted really good, which is great. And then I made some veggie chili. If you know, you know. And I was very excited and proud of this veggie chili. Like, it was just the perfect combination of ingredients and spices, and it turned out very good. This was another week, obviously. Well, actually, it was Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And again, I was too lazy to do the full month at a glance, so I just did the week. And I split the day into 2 columns. One is a checklist, and then the other is just like a bullet point thing of whatever happens during that day. I had some more personal thoughts that I wanted to write, which is why I folded this over, and then I baked brownies, so I wrote down my brownie recipe. If you're looking for not like a super thick brownie, but like a very dense fudgy brownie, I definitely recommend this recipe. I've made it multiple times and it never fails me. And then I did this spread. This was inspired by I'm so sorry, I forgot the Instagram handle. I will put it on the screen, but I did kind of like a 2023 in numbers, and you can look at my Instagram or you can just pause to read all of this, but this was really fun to do. I did some social media stats, some like fitness, books, donations, recipes, and some like firsts, as well as 8 Subway sandwiches. A little bit silly. And yeah, those are all of my spreads in my pocket bullet journal. Very pleased with all of the spreads that I was able to do this month. And I've mentioned it before, but I don't start a new bullet journal with every year. I just start a new one whenever I finish one. So yeah, this is going to go with me into 2024. All right, moving on to my Hobonichi cousin. I will say I am not very proud of my spreads for this month, especially the weekly section. I really struggled in the weekly section, and I think it's because I have just been so excited to start my 2024 planners that I'm just losing motivation in my 2023 planners. I know, it's not great, but I'm just so looking forward to starting some new books. But yeah, I'm gonna show you guys all of my incomplete spreads anyways. I'm not gonna talk too much about them because they're just, they're nothing special. So here I, as you can see, didn't finish off the weekend. Here I fell off midweek, tried again on Saturday, didn't finish Sunday. I do really like this theme though. It's like a nuts theme. This one was okay. I didn't finish Sunday. This was Christmas week, or actually Christmas Eve. Didn't do the second half at all. The first half looks pretty good though. And then this is this current week, which actually isn't too bad. I didn't bother with the sidebar, but I've so far been able to fill out every day, which is great. And it is currently Saturday. So yeah, not the proudest I've been of my spreads, but that is okay. And I'm just honestly very excited to start up my other planners. Okay, but my daily spreads were actually decent. Let me show you. These were all of my prompts for December. And I'm actually starting something in 2024 where if you go to my website under resources and then blog posts, I typed out my daily prompts starting January 2024. So you don't have to like screenshot and squint at whatever I'm writing here. You can just refer to the blog post anytime to follow along if you want. I will try to remember to link it down below as well. So yeah, let's get started. I really like this doodle. One part of me was happy that it's December, and then another part of me was like, oh no, kind of like an existential crisis. On this day, I made muffins as well as a batch of hummus. And then I met up with my friend Sydney. She's the owner of Planner Magico. We chatted over coffee, and then we also went to the Lego store to buy her kids some Christmas gifts. I was knitting, and then I started watching Catching Fire from the Hunger Games series. On this day, I think I was really stressed or I was doing something, and I mindlessly finished an entire, like a giant bag of roasted mixed nuts. My stomach was in shambles the next day, so don't do that. Nuts are great, delicious, very nutritious, but do not finish a giant bag of them in one sitting. We had a lot of deliveries, and then here I was doing a little brainstorm of my planner lineup for 2024. This was my nephew's day 100, and then I also made some lunch for my parents. On the 7th, I went angel tree shopping, which is basically where like typically department stores, they have a little Christmas tree with little tags that show what parents or kids want for Christmas, and you just buy for them as kind of like a donation. I try to do one every year, and it's always super fun and fulfilling. I made some curry puffs on this day to bring over to my sister's place. Japanese curry puffs. Those were delicious. And on this day, I ordered my e-reader, which I was super excited about. I'm gonna talk a little bit about that later. And this is why I used the reading and resting washi tape, which is one of my favorites. Sometimes I like to split my to-do list into priorities versus things that I ideally want to get done, just so I'm not like overwhelmed with a super long to-do list. I think this little running stick man is super funny. I think on this day, yeah, I had to make an announcement in the Facebook group that we were running out of like washi paper, which thankfully got resolved in the end, but I was just like very, very nervous and scared to make the announcement, which is why I made these doodles. On this day, I baked the biscotti, and then this month I started using an app. It's called Flow, and I have really been loving it. It's very similar to the Pomodoro method, which is basically like a interval timer. And you work for 25 minutes, you get a short break of 5 minutes, you repeat that 4 times, and then you get a long break of 30 minutes. I do find that it really helps me with staying on track and getting things done. So if you want to, I would definitely recommend this app. It's completely free, and I really like it because it's not very gimmicky. Like, it's very simple. You just start and stop. On Friday, I got my e-reader, and I was so excited. And I was working on the tulip fields kit during these few days, so I doodled some tulips. Not very appropriate during wintertime, but I still really like those doodles. Little smudge there. I finished my first book on the e-reader, which happened to be The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. I thought it was an interesting memoir. I didn't know much about Britney Spears because I think at the height of her craze, I was still in early high school, and I wasn't like too involved in pop culture. I was writing some Christmas cards on this day, did a bunch of ink swatches, and then I started reading Chain Gang All Stars, which I am, I think, 40% through. Really like this book so far. On the 20th, I was not having it, so instead of writing out a to-do list, I just wrote down a bunch of things that I was able to finish instead of like things that I want to finish. And then this was the day I finished my sweater. On this day, I made a new Goodreads account, which I will link down below as well. My previous Goodreads was connected to Facebook, and I think they recently disconnected, and I tried to do like the forget password thing and get my account back, but I just wasn't able to. So I made a new account officially with my email. I was also procrastinating on this day, so I doodled this like yelling emoji. On this day, this was when I went bouldering with my friend and we had brunch. and that is when I basically ripped off my nail. Awesome. This was Christmas Eve. I didn't tag along with my parents to my sister's place, so I sent along some flowers. I did end up heading over there on Christmas, and we had a lovely dinner just with my sister having a newborn, and you know, we don't really have any young kids anymore. Yeah, it wasn't a very festive Christmas, but honestly I found it to be very nice because nobody was stressed about taking down decorations and all of the formalities, but I am looking forward to when my nephew is old enough to kind of feel the joys of Christmas magic again. But anyways, we just had a very low-key Christmas dinner, very light. I then went back home the next day, and then this was when I realized that, yeah, I am kind of in like a depressive episode again. Nothing to be worried about, but yeah. I didn't want to, I just didn't really have energy to do anything really, so I skipped doing my daily prompt. I just wrote down some things that I accomplished on that day, and I really didn't bother writing anything. I'm currently reading a book called Into Thin Air, which is kind of like I think it's a report-ish novel of the 1996 Mount Everest disaster, and that is my current hyperfixation. I am just consuming all documentaries and videos and books about that disaster. I don't know why. I just stumbled across it one day and I was like, I find this to be super interesting. So yeah, I am almost done reading this book. And then this is the last spread that I have to show so far. Again, it is currently Saturday, so this is all. I did tip in this like extra little page because I had some personal things that I wanted to write about. That is basically it for my Hobonichi cousin of this year. I just have to finish today and tomorrow, and at this point I am pretty confident that I should be able to finish. So wow, another 365 days in this giant planner. Okay, it is currently 11:30 and I have new releases at 12, so I'm going to finish recording this video in a little bit. All right, we are back. The new releases went super well. I do have to run out in a bit, so I'm going to quickly get through this portion. So this is my Take a Note planner for 2024, and something that I added, which I think if it applies to you, it might be useful. I wasn't sure where I wanted to put the prompts. And again, if you want this list of prompts, you can go to the resource section of my website and then the blog post where I have this all typed up. But anyways, I didn't know where I want to write out the list. So what I decided to do was take a piece of Hobonichi notebook paper. I trimmed it down to size, and then you can see here that I folded back 2 squares, and then on the back side I just put down some double-sided tape runner, or sticky tape I guess. And now I have this like little flap, and now I can just easily refer to the list, and it's not like impeding anything here. So yeah, you don't have to do this for like prompts. If you just ever need some extra space, I think this is a really good idea. And I have decided that I will just write down the prompts at the top of each day. I'm gonna answer the prompt however long I feel like writing, and then underneath I will do my daily journaling, just like writing about my day and stuff like that. The only thing that I haven't really figured out is this weekly overview. I think I might just leave it as like a highlights of the day sort of thing, so nothing too serious. So yeah, that is my only update for the Take a Note planner. And then I also did some things in the Hobonichi Cousin Avec, specifically the monthly section. So something that I realized about my 2023 monthlies, typically the end of the month and the beginning of the month are the most busiest for me, just in terms of like wrapping up the shop and personally. And I found that either at the end of the month or the beginning of the next month, I just didn't really have the time to sit down and play around with the monthly section. So I wouldn't use the kits, and then a week would go by and I'm like, what is the point of setting up the monthly if a week of the month has already gone by? So what I have decided to do is put down at least the base stickers in advance. I started this last night, so I was only able to do January, February, March, but I'm gonna do April through June shortly as well. And I just put down all of the recurring things like the accounts and paydays, subscription deadlines, monthly wrap-ups, stuff like that. Also birthdays. So yeah, hopefully this will encourage me to use the monthly section a little bit more. And I'm also storing the kits on this like inner flap of the cover, so that way I'm not like looking everywhere for them, and whenever something comes up I can just quickly, you know, grab it from here. So yeah, I'm very hopeful that I will be able to better use my monthly section for next year. I mean, obviously it's not like a big revolutionary change or anything, but I think just making it easier for me to actually reach for the stickers and have the base all set up will really help with that. That is it. And then I will quickly talk about, let's do my e-reader first. About a few weeks ago, I decided to get an e-reader. I've always wanted to get one, but I just love physical books so much, and I was like, ugh, I don't want to keep another screen charged in my life and having to take care of it, blah, blah, blah. But I finally decided to give in because in 2023, I just was not able to read as many books. Paper books, sometimes I just didn't want to carry it everywhere. As for digital books on the computer or my phone, it just was really straining my eyes. So I decided to get the Kobo Libra 2 e-reader. I decided to get this over the Kindle just because this, I believe, works a lot better with sideloading books. So if you have EPUBs or PDFs, you can better import it. And also the Kobo works well with the Overdrive and Libby apps, which are like the library for ebooks. So yeah, overall, I just felt like it was better suited towards my needs. I'm not too familiar with the Kindle though, so I could be wrong. But yeah, so far I have been reading from this for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, not too sure. And it has been a delight. I already finished one book, and then I'm halfway through 2 other books, which is more than I've read in the past few months. This particular one has these buttons, so you can turn the page, or you can just use your finger. I'm also one of those people where I need to know the definition of words that I don't know. Even if I don't end up memorizing it, it really bugs me. I would literally have to search it up on my phone, every single word that I didn't know, and it would waste a lot of time. But with the e-reader, you can just hold and it'll bring up the definition. You can highlight all of that. So yeah, if you have been considering on getting an e-reader, I completely understand why you're hesitating. Oh, also this cover is super cool because it's like magnetic and you can just like stand it up like so if you don't want to hold it. But anyways, if you have been hesitating, I completely understand. Physical books definitely still has a place in my life. I still read physical books, but I think in terms of efficiency, having an e-reader is really nice. Oh, also, this might be like situational, but for me, like I do find myself reading a lot more than scrolling on my phone now. So if I'm like waiting for something to download, or if I'm just waiting for a reply or something, like I'm waiting 5 minutes or something. Previously, I'll just like scroll through Instagram or TikTok. But now that I have this, I do find that instead I'll just read a few pages of my book. And previously I would never do that because I don't really want to like get out a physical book and open to the right page and yada yada yada. Okay, and then the last thing that I want to show is my sweater. I'm gonna insert a clip of it zoomed out. But yeah, keep in mind this is the first sweater that I finished knitting myself. Previously I would knit like very simple things like scarves or coasters, little coffee cozies, but I've never knitted like a wearable. So yeah, I decided to jump straight into a sweater. My tension looks very off at certain places. There are definitely multiple holes because I kept like missing stitches, or I would like accidentally make a new stitch. And I'm such a noob that I don't really know how to correct my mistakes. So I kind of just have to keep going. So I decided to keep going anyways, and I still have to weave in the threads, but I definitely have learned a lot from knitting this sweater, and I actually purchased some more yarn to redo this sweater. Now that I'm more familiar, I think I can definitely do a better job, so I'm very excited for that. And I also bought another set of yarn to knit a really dainty kind of tank top, which I'm super excited about. That one requires a little bit more advanced work, I think, because it does some like lacing. So I will definitely keep you guys updated on that. Oh, I will also leave the link to the pattern down below because I know a lot of you were asking about that. This is a very nice pattern for beginners. It was very easy for me to understand despite all of the all of the holes and stuff like that. All right, this wraps up my December planner update. I'm gonna get going now because I was invited to see some puppies. This is my last video of 2023. I'm so excited for next year. Thank you for all of your support this year as well. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and bye. Take care.